Hello, 8th graders, and welcome to Rock Cycle Doodle Notes with Miss A. We will be completing the Rock Cycle Doodle Notes in your OneNote notebook, so make sure that you go to the one that looks like this, and we'll begin. All right, to start off, we're going to have 3 types of rock that we're going to be learning about today, and we're going to write them over here. We have metamorphic, we have igneous, and sedimentary. Okay. We're going to start off by saying the processes for each. So, first type of rock, it says created from the, and we'll zoom in on that first circle. And we're going to write in cooling and solidification of lava or magma. And remember, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video and catch on up. So that's our first type of rock we're going to learn about. Our second type of rock we're going to learn about, the process that makes that, it says existing rock is subjected to very high heat and pressure. Very high heat and pressure. And then our last type of rock is created from the deposition of sediments in layers over time. All right, so we have our 3 types of rock, the processes. This first type of rock up at the top is our igneous rock. Okay, and since this is doodle notes, we're going to doodle these green. Color the word rock green under igneous. And then we're going to use our highlighter mode and highlight the outline green as well. So these are doodle notes, and this is part of what we're doodling. Okay, so it's created from the cooling and solidification of magma. Our next type of rock is our metamorphic rock. And that is created from very high heat and pressure. So we're going to write metamorphic here. It's from very high heat and pressure, so if you guessed that we were going to make it red, then you would be correct. So let's make the word rock red under here. Heat and pressure. Heat is hot. Okay, we'll use our red highlighter to highlight the outside rim. You may be wondering why we're using doodle notes. Doodle notes, it's research that if you doodle while you are learning something or color it in, then you are more likely to remember it. So we're going to doodle these notes so that you will remember what type of rock is what and how it's created. And then our last type of rock over on the left is our sedimentary rock. And we're going to make it blue. And the reason we're going to make it blue is because weathering is involved. And water is one of the ways that you can make sediment for sedimentary rock, water or ice. Let's use our blue highlighter. I want a different ink color, a little closer to the blue that I have. How about that? Yeah, that's a good blue. Close enough. Sedimentary rock. Okay. Now, before we move on, there's one important thing to note. This middle part, where it says, any type of rock can transform into another type of rock under the right conditions, or what I was calling processes earlier. So we're going to take our yellow highlighter, and we are going to highlight this because this is one of the most important things about the rock cycle. Any type of rock can transform into another type under the right conditions, and that is what we're going to talk about. So you may have noticed these arrows in between each of the types. So those arrows are going to tell you how each of those are formed. So we're going to form igneous first. We need that green again. We're going to color in both the arrows that are going towards igneous, green. You can color the whole arrow, or you can get fancy like I'm doing. Both of them are going to be green. Okay, and we're going to use our pen. And above it, we're going to write cooling. Above or near both of those arrows. So when a metamorphic rock is cooling off, it will then turn into an igneous rock once it's solidified. And when a sedimentary rock is cooling off, it will turn into an igneous rock. Up next, we're going to turn sedimentary and igneous into metamorphic. So we need our red again because it's hot, hot, heat, and pressure. We're going to turn both of those arrows red going towards metamorphic rock. Because when we put heat and pressure on those rocks, guess what's happening? It's going to turn metamorphic. So igneous, we're going to write heat and pressure, the arrow coming from igneous. So let's say the magma cooled off, and then it gets heated again, and a lot of pressure. Guess what? Going to go back to metamorphic rock. And with sedimentary, heat and pressure, it's going to turn it in to metamorphic. I can do better. Let's make it bigger and try that again. Heat and pressure. Okay. And then last but not least is sedimentary rock. We're going to go over to the left in that top left corner where it says creation of sediments. We're going to have to create sediment before we get sedimentary rock. So we're going to make this blue because we made sedimentary blue and we want it to stick in your brain that this is how we make sedimentary rocks. So creation of sediments. Okay. The first thing that has to happen is weathering. I'm going to make that a W for what we're doing next. The next thing that has to happen, weathering, is where you create smaller pieces of rock through physical or chemical means. So a physical mean would be water just dripping over it and eroding it away. The next step is erosion, which would be an E, where that rock that was weathered is now being swept away through water or air and being deposited somewhere, or deposition. And that's where it lands. It's deposited somewhere. So once it lands there, it's going to get compacted together. Which is the squeezed together, and then glued together, which is cementation, cemented together. And we're going to highlight all of that blue. Because it all has to do with sedimentary rock. All right, creation of sediments. So there's weathering, erosion, deposition, and then it has to get compacted together and cemented. So we're going to use our blue again. And we're going to color in the two arrows going towards sedimentary rock. And we're going to put a W, E, D there, because otherwise it won't fit. W, E, D. So, the main points. Any type of rock can transform into another type of rock under the right conditions, right? And so sedimentary can turn into igneous or metamorphic. Metamorphic can turn into igneous or sedimentary, and so on. So let's give some examples of each of these types of rocks right here. Pumice, Obsidian and granite is igneous rock. So we will make that green with the highlighter. Up next, shale, sandstone, and conglomerate is sedimentary rock. And zoom in to make sure it fits on that line. So we're going to color that with our highlighter blue. And then gneiss, marble, and schist is metamorphic. It's heat and pressure, so we'll use our red highlighter for that. All right. And then at the bottom where it says the rock cycle, I am going to have you make a couple of different rocks out of each of the words. So one of these words is going to represent metamorphic, one is going to represent igneous, and one is going to represent sedimentary. So our the is going to end up being gray. Oops, wrong. There we go. Gonna end up being gray. And the way I'm gonna know if you watch this video is that I'm gonna have you guess what each of these words represent, which type, metamorphic, igneous, or sedimentary. And I'm gonna give you some verbal clues, and then I want you to write near that word which type of rock you think it is. So that one's gonna be gray. And that one forms near volcanoes. It cools off. The next rock, I want you to put stripes on it. That's called striated. So I'm gonna put some gray stripes on it. Colored a little differently. Then we'll put some of these brownish stripes on them. So stripes like this occur under extreme pressure. So that's the hint for that one. And then for this bottom rock, we're gonna make it out of big chunks that look like they've been cemented together. Some big chunks that have been cemented together. So what I want you to do is next to each of these words, so that it's clear which one it's near, I would like you to tell me which of the three types of rocks it is. And that way, I will know that you watched my video. All right, this was our rock cycle doodle notes. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And remember to upload these onto Canvas once you are finished guessing which of those equals which type of rock. Have a good day, 8th grade.